Chapter -9 The Dews, written by Tol Dew and Jax Matrix. I don't know if we should continue the story now, said Magal. The next part needs to be told by you, Tol, and you've had a long day travelling. Angel agreed. You must be very tired, she said. Everyone groaned. Please, they shouted. Tol stood up. Okay, he said, but it can't just be me. Escher and Jax have to help out too. Everyone cheered. Jax and I have been writing this story for years now, said Tol. We thought it would make a good book, and I've got a copy of the manuscript, so we could take turns reading it from that if you'd like. Yes, came the resounding response. Jax laughed and jumped up to stand next to Tol. Okay, she said, but some of the writing was done when I was quite young, so you must forgive it. There were shouts of, we will, and definitely. Jax nodded. Okay then, she said. I'll read some, and Escher, you can help. Escher grinned. Of course, he said, but you start, Tol. Tol nodded, dragging a tattered manuscript from his travelling bag. Okay, he said, here goes. Everyone settled back into their chairs, waiting for Tol to begin. Tol looked like a younger Solo, the same blonde hair and piercing blue eyes. He was taller than Solo, though, and somehow more fearsome. It's Jax here. I just have to type that. It's Jax here. Because Tol and I are writing all of this down so you can read it in the book, I wanted you to know that I wrote that bit about Tol's looks. It wasn't Tol bragging. I just find Tol more like a warrior than Solo, that's all. Tol here. Thank you, Jax. I can't wait until Solo reads this bit. He needs to come down a peg or three. Jax here again. So you don't get really confused. Tol and I wrote not only the story in the manuscript about the times when we were younger, but also this whole book that includes everything after Magal's 1111th birthday gig, and all of us reading the manuscript in the observatory, and on the deck, and down on the beach. So Tol and I have written 2 books, really. Hope that makes sense. Before Tol started reading, he and Jax settled into a special new chair that Jax had just imagined into existence. It was a couch in the shape of a long red car. Cool storytelling couch, said Tol. But of course, said Jax, laughing. Off you go. Tol opened the manuscript. The pages were held together with faded string, and the paper was dog-eared and torn in places. There was a hush as Tol began by explaining that his parents are Nell and Bill Dew, both of whom are imaginicians, people who create magic using their imagination. When all of this happened, continued Tol, Solomon was 10, I was 8, and Tilly was 5. Okay, I'm going to read from the manuscript now. We called the story The Magic Time Pirates. Angel stood up and said, would you mind telling us a little about why you chose that title? No worries, said Tol. Then looking at Jax, he asked, should I explain or you? Go, said Jax. Okay, said Tol. Magic Time Pirates are incredible. I don't know that much about them, but I think you have to be a time wizard first, and then you get to return time to people. I mean, the time has been stolen from them, and you can't give it back easily, but you can find ways to return it to them, especially if you're a time wizard. Jax stood next to Tol. And if you're a kindness wizard too, she said, it's like a complicated mix of kindness and cleverness that somehow makes it possible for stolen time to be given back to those from whom it's been taken. Angel nodded. Sounds good, she said. Is that right, Magal? Magal shrugged his shoulders. Time pirates work in secret mostly, he said. They don't really like big pats on the back. That's for show-offs. Angel laughed. And you'd never want to be a show-off, would you? She asked. Never, said Miguel, almost returning to his grumpy self. Toll stared at Miguel. You're right, he said. Showing off is probably the opposite of what a time pirate does or should do, although I've known at least one time pirate who does like a bit of limelight. Miguel guffawed. I know one too, he said, but we forgive him because he's very good at the whole returning time bit, so what's not to like? Toll grinned. Exactly, he said. Who is it? Called Frank. Miguel looked mysterious. You'll meet him later in the story, he said, but for now you can know him as Captain Max Arrow. Actually, but for now you can know him as Captain Halo Max Arrow. Captain Max Arrow. I think he needs to be Captain Halo Max Arrow. But for now, you can know him as Captain Halo Max Arrow. Frank smiled and nodded his head. Captain Halo Max Arrow, he whispered to himself. Can't wait to meet him, said Minnows. All right, here goes. Toll waited for the clamour to settle down before he began. Chapter -9, The Jews. Every year the Jew family would meet up with Imaginicians, Imagineers, sea dragons, and wander the granite mountains overlooking the bay, build sandcastles in the gem-like sand, and swim with the magic sea creatures that are unique to the island of Dragolin. Dragolin is pronounced Dragolin, not Dragolin, and it's a large island. People go there throughout the year so that they can feel better, but the place becomes so popular over the summer holidays that only people who've been born there are allowed to visit at that time, and each person born there is allowed to invite one guest so that they too can have. Jews always host a big New Year's Eve party because their holiday house is right on the beach. The Jews have always been known to be really generous people. Bill he always gave everyone the best gifts, and he still does. And Nell is looking out for a family called Matrix. None of us knew that he was looking out for Escher and Jax, but after the time-travelling lighthouse appeared to him, and he saw magic written in the heard of a family called Matrix, but they hadn't. He asked other friends and relatives if they knew the Matrix visit had just been a dream. But remembering the letters on the lawn spelling out magic or to help his parents meet the Matrix family, if he couldn't even find out who they were, what hope was there?